So, the Duggars. I think everyone pretty much knows what's going on with the Duggars in the media. It's been covered over and over, and so I'm pretty sure most people coming to this video know the backstory. If you don't, I'll cover some of it, but I kind of want to go kind of explore more the reasoning of why this probably happened. Kind of just as an overall view, and also a look at how the media treats certain things concerning individuals, and comparing things that happen in the media. Now, I of course lie in the camp that knows he did wrong and thinks I don't get the whole 3-year limitation thing. It boggles the mind. I almost want to say that it almost feels, well, we all know it was avoidance. We all know that there was avoidance in actually taking accountability for one's actions, and it was covered up. But it almost seems like there was such a reluctance to kind of get any help, which supposedly they did, or any kind of anything. I mean, the people they went to were you all know about the cop that they went to that got later busted as doing time for child pornography and whatever else he did. Maybe some molestation, I don't know. I think if you're doing 56 years, it's more than just pornography. It's probably some actual molestation charges too. So I don't know about that, but I do know that he did get in trouble for it, and that he's doing time. So not a great cop to go to. The counseling that he got was a friend, and of course you probably all know this, but it really looks like there wasn't a lot of really seeking to get any help, especially for the victims, who, if you do the math, you can kind of you can pretty much figure out who they were, what ages they would have been. So you can kind of figure that out just by kind of doing math and thinking about it a little bit. They're brought up, mainly it's the way they're brought up. And I know that people can be brought up a certain way and totally not, can totally be the opposite, or think for themselves later on, and but I'm talking about right now in that house with the 20 children, just the ideology that they're brought up with, conservative Christian, hide the children away from the world, but put them on TV. Okay, I don't quite understand that. Okay, so anyways, if you do your homework and you look into the Duggars, they've been abusing their children for a while. And not just with sexual abuse, we're talking physical abuse. These are people who support the Pearls, Dobson, all those Christian beat up your children kind of books. They all support those people. They all support those dudes. So if you take people who are brought up in a family who are used to being beaten and hit, and are taught to be fearful, but also taught to be unquestioning towards authority, male authority at that. And Josh was one of those, was a brother who was an older brother, which means he had authority over them. So, just in that alone, having the authority over them, probably using any means necessary to use that authority. Okay, there was, and then when after it happens, the girls, the victims, are said, well, you have to forgive him. He's right by God. You have to forgive him too, or you're essentially flawed in spirit and soul, and all that crap that they feed him. I'm sorry about the cats. They're kind of go off in the back. But anyways, so you take that into account, and you see it's a recipe for disaster. Yeah, the girls were afraid to probably say anything. And the parents knew anyway, and nothing was really done. Oh, he was sent off a little while, and he came back. Even if that's even what happened, I mean, I don't know. It just looks like I don't know why these people are on TV. You just go and Google them, and you look at stuff like blanket training, where they were proponents of blanket training, which is like, taking a baby, putting it on a blanket, and if it wanders off, you hit it with a ruler or some other object or whatever, or some parents even lure their child off so that they have to beat them, so that the training is early, or so it happens faster. Basically, it's disgusting. But think about growing up in a family like that, where you would have that element. You don't trust someone in that kind of environment. You just don't. So I don't know, man. It's interesting because like these allegations come out and they're true because he says they are. Everyone admits to it, so it's not like it's alleged. It happened, and just like the other abuses that aren't covered by the media. This was going to happen sooner or later. Something was going to happen, and just the abuse with the way that they come on, they advocate the pearls, for God's sake, who have gotten who the Pearls book has been involved in two to three child murders by parents. They advocate this strict, like, again, beat 'em up parenting. It's gross, and you didn't really hear that much of an outcry with the blanket training. In fact, I can't find any videos about it on YouTube. You know, and I understand sex is one of those things that everybody gets really upset about, and they should. But at the same time, it's like there were warning signs before this family wasn't healthy. Um, and just the whole idea of the quiverful movement is gross. It's like, it's disgusting. It's like, one, we're already overpopulated enough as a planet, and then you want to bring more children in, and you just want to have them just so you can overpopulate the world with more Christians. That's the whole thing behind it, is populating the world with Christians. And it's like, yeah, might not work. Yeah, sure, a lot of them are going to grow up to be all brainwashed, but some of them are going to go their separate path. But yeah, glorifying having gazillion children and the reasonings behind it. How anyone can even think that they're a great family? Yeah, they spout all this, love and tolerance stuff, but obviously, come on now. I don't know, just like when I first heard of them, I was disgusted about how many children they were having, but then I'm like, oh, and they're the conservative Christian movement, which I know automatically usually means child abuse is going on of the physical nature. So to have sexual abuse happen is not a big far leap from that. The guy had authority over the children. They were brought up in a fearful environment, untrusting environment. It's bound to happen. You just do your homework, look it up, look up blanket training, look up look at who they, follow with their child rearing practices, and you'll see. So this stuff, and just the cover up, I just don't think that it just doesn't really feel like they even really care that much. And they obviously don't really care that much about the girl's feelings, because they were like, okay, well, you have to forgive and all this stuff, and if you don't, then you're bad and all this crap, come on. It's a recipe for abuse, and I'm pretty sure that more and more shit's gonna come out later on about how crazy these people are, because, if the whole, like, the gazillion children didn't, like, set off bells, this, all the other things should, and why other things don't get media attention. I'm glad that this is out there now. But again, 3 years, I don't know, man. That's bullshit. 3 years? Because that gives like so many families just the right to molest their children. Because they got 3 years, especially if they're young. Then you just do it right then, and then 3 years later, the child hasn't gotten, able to, like, rat out their parents or their family, and so they're stuck. That's stupid. That's got to change. But yeah, this whole Duggar thing, you could saw a mile away. You've just done homework on the internet. These people are not good people. They support horrible people. They also support another another molester, Gossard or something. Um, that's online too. Someone did a really good video about the connection and how that guy was also tied to assaulting women and sexually assaulting. So it's out there. Do your homework. But I just wanted to point out that the way that they brought up these children in this fearful environment and in this really bad environment led to this. And again, like all the strict and wholesome, tolerating didn't keep the son from molesting daughters, didn't keep the daughters from being molested. And who knows what else it hasn't stopped, and who knows what the parents are guilty of. I'm sure there's a lot of stuff that isn't shown on television, obviously. So we'll see in the future how much more things come out. I'm glad it got canceled. I don't think it should have been running in the first place, just with all the other abuses that went on that no one really talked about. And also, just glorifying overpopulation is never a good idea. But again, that's my 2 cents on it. It all goes back to, like, how do you make it easier to molest someone? You make them afraid, and you have power over them, and you make them afraid, and it's easy to do anything. And that's what kind of environment these girls were living in. And that's all I have to say about that right now.